Hello there, folks. I was looking at the elementary checkmate drills that we have on the chess.com website, okay, which are right here, okay, and these are the ones that we're supposed to do quite regularly, right? And I'm going to be honest, I do bishop and knight every day, and I do queen versus rook every day. And because I do queen versus rook every day, I don't have to do the queen mate every day because I am getting lots of practice with the queen. Now, I'm going to confess, I don't do the rook mate that often, and it's actually one that you should do. You can lose your touch with that. It is a bit awkward, working with a single rook. You can also stalemate your opponent if you're really not careful. And I think the endgame expert, Jose Raul Capablanca, I think he said in one of his books, which is a classic book too, by the way, you should do this rook mate in something like 11 moves or less from any position on the board. And I gotta admit, I don't think I'm quite that efficient. So yeah, so it's good to do these things so you don't lose your touch. Now, I'm gonna say bishop and knight. It's a pretty tricky one to learn, but once you learn it, it's a good idea to not lose that, lose that ability. Queen versus rook is a pretty major undertaking. These 5 positions alone, the first 3 are fairly simple, and they're all Philidor related. Next, the 4th one, I can do that one really easily now and quickly, and it doesn't give me any trouble. And same with the 5th one, but the 5th one took a lot of work. Okay, I found that I had to develop four lines. After my first move, there was 4 distinct lines that Stockfish would use. All right, you would have to develop a lot more winning lines when you start to then play. Like with Stockfish, I mean, you're talking about like the strongest computer, right? That's out there. When you start to play against weaker competition, people rated 1,000 to 1,500, so your club level guys, all of a sudden, they don't play like Stockfish, and so you're seeing moves that you wouldn't see from Stockfish, if you get my drift. So one of the things that I actually have to do in order to really, really be like at the top of my game with the queen versus rook is I actually have to start using 800 level bots, 1200 level bots, and I probably go up to about, say, 2000 level. All right. So I do this every now and then just to keep me on my toes. Eh? All right. So what are we missing though? Well, my book over here by James Mason, The Principles of Chess, super classic that it was, renowned classic. On page 51 of this book, they have the mate with 2 knights in their elements of chess section. Apparently that's something we're supposed to know how to do. And he spent no more than about 3 or 4 sentences, okay, on discussing it, because as far as he was concerned, it's kind of a theoretical topic. In practice, it doesn't occur, really, but he thought it'd be good for you to know. And so he gives you a position, which is like a mate in 6. Okay, a nice little simple position, mate in 6, just to show you that it can be done. All right, well, what I did was I put my thinking cap on today, and I decided that I want 5 drills, similar to what chess.com does for all these other elementary checkmates. And right now, I'm going to show you my very first drill, which is real simple. It's just a 3-move checkmate. So it's even easier than the one James Mason has. I'll have his next, okay, which is like a mate in 6. So that'll be my drill number 2. I'll put that in another video. And I think I'll produce one video for each one of these drills, and they're going to get more and more involved, okay? But I'm trying to design these to be approachable and doable by any level. A beginner, intermediate, doesn't matter. But as you get up to drill number 3, 4, and 5, well, I made those not to be just doable, by us guys, as amateurs, but that they're testing your techniques now. Some pretty tricky techniques that you need to learn and retain. So it's a little bit like learning that patented W move, right, with the in the bishop and knight checkmate. You're going to have to learn a few things with the 2 knights. That's kind of fun to learn, and once you get the hang of it, it's actually pretty addictive. So anyway, so let's take a look at my first drill, see what you think, and like I said, they're only going to get tougher from this point on. All right, so I'm just going to restart that. So it was black to move. So I've designed this so that black mates its move, and then white has to find the checkmate. All right, so I think you can find this one pretty easily, even if you've never done 2 knights mate before. I think you might be able to find this one, right? You gotta call that check there at G5, all right? And okay, if you've never done the 2 knights before, then maybe you don't know that you got to leave that knight there, right? You have to leave that knight in place now because he's now stalemated the king, and that was your blockading knight, right? So he was static for this entire endgame, just sitting there, holding up a pawn, waiting for the other 2, clumsy characters there, your king and the other knight, the mobile one, to get that black king into the checkmating position. So he might have been waiting close to 50 moves, all right? And now that the pawn's moved, okay, so we reset the counter, all right? So it doesn't matter if we had taken 48 moves up to this point. Now the pawn's moved. It's about to move because he's stalemated, right? And so the counter starts at back to 1 again, okay? Yeah, we reset the counter as soon as the pawn moves. You got to remember that that 50 move rule works when there's been no captures and no pawn move, okay? Yeah, you got to remember that. Okay, so did he make a move? Yes, he moved, right? He moved out of check. All right, so now, like I said, this guy's got to stay there, and we're going to do this 2-move checkmate. So the static knight, the blockader, okay, that's been just sitting here doing nothing, all right, while, you expend however many moves it took to get the black king up in this corner, trapped. That guy's been doing nothing. He now gets a chance, to make one move. Makes that one move, okay? And then that's it. That's all she wrote for him. And, yeah, that's quite a job to have. That's an easy job, get in front of this pawn, call 1 check, and then don't do anything else. Don't do anything stupid, because, yeah, if I moved him now, that would be doing something stupid. All right, so anyway, yeah, so then we just finish it off nice and neat. Okay, so we're now seeing one of the several, there are more than one, there's several configurations, okay, for the 2 knights and the king, and this one is in the, just happens to be in the shape of, that knight move, right? So, yeah, pretty cool. All right. So, stay tuned for drill number 2, which will come in my next video. All right. And thanks for watching, as always. Stay cool.